Okay, so today we are carrying on with our poetry unit, and the poem we're going to be reading today is called The Magic Box. As with yesterday, have a go at reading the poem yourself, pause the video or download the PDF from the website. Have a go at reading it yourself. Okay, underline any words you're not sure of, ask a grown-up, and then unpause the video and I will read it for you. The Magic Box by Kit Wright. I will put in the box the swish of a silk sari on a summer night, fire from the nostrils of a Chinese dragon, the tip of a tongue touching a tooth. I will put in the box a snowman with a rumbling belly, a sip of the bluest water from Lake Lucerne, a leaping spark from an electric fish. I will put in the box 3 violet wishes spoken in Gujarati, the last joke of an ancient uncle, and the first smile of a baby. I will put in the box a 5th season and a black sun, a cowboy on a broomstick and a witch on a horse. My box is fashioned from ice and gold and steel, with stars on the lid and secrets in the corners. Its hinges are the toe joints of dinosaurs. I shall surf on my box on the great high rolling breaks of the wild Atlantic, then wash ashore on a yellow beach the colour of the sun. Your questions from the poem today. What is the poem about? Question 1. What is the poem about? Why has Kit Wright written this poem? Okay. Question 2. Why do you think the poet has used lots of senses in the poem? Question 3, what is the box made from? Question 4, how does Kit Wright describe the colour of the beach? Question 5, can you see a pattern in the poem? Question 6, what would you put in your box if you were going to make one? Okay, so that's quite an exciting question, the one at the end. What would you put in your box? Okay, pause the video while you have a go and we'll look through the answers together. Okay, question 1 was what is the poem about? Well, the title gives us a clue. Okay, it's going to be about a box. Okay, and we have got here, I will put in the box, I will put in the box, I will put in the box, I will put in the box. We've got 4 of those, and then I shall surf on my box. Okay, so our poet is telling us what he is putting in this magic box. And this magic box, I think, has got everything in that Kit Wright, our poet, would like to put in his all of the things that he finds magical. Okay, so he finds a swish of a silk sari on a summer night magical. He finds the leaping spark from an electric fish magical. He finds the first smile of a baby magical. He's listing all of these things that he finds magical. And he is telling us that as the reader, okay? This might not be what you find magical, but it's what he finds magical. Okay. So why do you think the poet has used lots of senses in the poem? So you've got the swish. Okay, so a bit of onomatopoeia there, the swish. So that's something that you can hear. Okay. Fire from the nostrils of a Chinese dragon. There's not a word there, but that's something that perhaps you might feel. If you close your eyes, and I'll say it for you. Fire from the nostrils of a Chinese dragon. I don't know about you, but when I read that, I could feel the heat. You've seen fire burst out of somewhere before. I could almost feel the heat, like the heat you'd get off a bonfire. The tip of the tongue touching a tooth. Have a go at doing that. That is something that everybody's done. Everybody's got a tongue and they can touch their teeth. Okay, that is something that you've done before and you can almost feel it. So that's another feel. Okay, a rumbling belly of the snowman. Okay, so another word that tells us how something is sounding. The sip of the bluest water. Okay, so a sip. We've got that taste, haven't we? That element of taste. We've got the bluest water, so we can see what it looks like. We can see a leaping spark from an electric fish. Okay, we've got lots and lots of senses in there, guys. Have a little think. Let's have a look at the two stanzas that we have looked at, the two stanzas, the two verses. Okay, because our question says why. Why do you think this poet has used lots of senses in the poem? Okay, I think it is to add effect, to keep the reader excited, to keep the reader engaged. Okay, because if you think, if Kit Wright said, I will put in the box a sari at night, fire from a dragon, a tongue in a mouth. I will put in the box a snowman, a sip of water, a leaping fish. Would it be as exciting? No, it wouldn't, would it? Okay, we've got all this ambitious and exciting vocabulary, all of these senses, our links to our senses, because it makes you as the reader understand a little bit better what Kit Wright is feeling and what he is seeing. Okay, it describes it really well to you. Question 3. What is the box made from? Okay, this one's quite an easy one. It says here, my box is fashioned from ice and gold and steel. So the word fashioned here means made. My box is made from ice and gold and steel. So your answer would be, what is the box made from? The box is made from ice and gold and steel. How does Kit Wright describe the colour of the beach? Okay, that was in the last stanza. So, then wash ashore on a yellow beach, the colour of the sun. So I wasn't looking on this one. I wasn't looking for, he describes it as yellow. Okay. I want, the colour is yellow, but he describes it as the colour of the sun. Okay. Question 5. Can you see a pattern in the poem? When I first read this, I couldn't see a pattern. There's not a pattern. It's not like the poem we looked at yesterday, is it? It's not got an obvious rhyming pattern. It's not a rhyming poem. Okay, it's a poem to do with your senses. So there's not a pattern in it. There's a little bit of a visual pattern in that every stanza up until halfway through the poem starts with I will put in the box. Okay, but in terms of a rhyming pattern, there is not one. Question 6, what would you put in your box if you were going to make one? Again, that's not something that we're going to answer now. Okay, it's completely personal to you. What would you put in your magic box? Okay, if you want to, you could have a go at writing a poem in the style of this. What would go into your magic box? But think about all the things we've talked about. Okay, think about how you could use the senses in your poem to really appeal and engage your reader. Okay, because the best poems will be the ones where the poet has thought about their reader and the senses that they would use.
Hi Class 4, hope you're all okay. We're going to go through the do it and secure it from yesterday, okay? So number 1 asked you to use the tally chart to calculate the total number of sandwiches sold. So for each sandwich you could have worked out the total. Let's have a look at that. Okay, so for cheese we had 15, egg was 8, ham was 14 and tuna was 7. So we then needed to add those together. So if we add 15 and 14 together we get 29. And if we add 8 and 7 together, we've got 15. And then if we just add those together, we have got 44. So your answer to number 1 should have been 44. Okay? Okay, so on to number 2, you needed to complete the sentences using the table. And the first question was 1/4 of the votes were for. Now to do this, you needed to first find out the total. So I've done 10 and 4 is 14 is 24, 7 and 9 is 16, and I'm adding them together, so my answer is 40. Now I needed to find 1/4 of that, so I needed to do 40 divided by 4, so the answer that you should have got is 10, okay? Now 7 more people voted for something than something, so you needed to find 2 numbers where the difference was 7. Okay, so 2 with the difference of 7, we've got 7 and 14, So that is the difference. So you should have put 7 more people voted for ice skating than swimming. Okay, and then on to number 3. It said calculate the difference between frogs found in the pond and the river. So pond here and river here. So if we have a look, the circle represents 10 frogs. So we've got 1.5 in here, so that's 15. And we've got a 3 in there, so that is 30. And the difference between 30 and 15 is, of course, 15. Okay, and finally number 4, in which 2 areas were 35 frogs found altogether. So you needed to do a bit of adding and work out which 2 would make 35. So hopefully you noticed that the lake had got 25, and the marsh had got 10, and 10 and 25 is 35, so your answer was the lake and the marsh. Well done, guys. If you had a go at your Do It Extra challenge, I'm just going to go through the answers for you now. So, number 1 was the same number of people visited Maltings Castle as Filmland Cinema on Saturday. So we were looking at this column here, the Saturday column. We were looking at Maltings Castle. And we were looking at Filmland Cinema. Okay, so 2,045 there and 2,054 there. So actually that was false because more people visited Filmland Cinema than Maltings Castle. Okay, so on to the next one. So double the number of people visited Animal World Zoo on Sunday than Saturday. So we're looking at the top row there, and we need to find out whether that is double or not. So for this one, I would have recommended that you did 1,282 times 2. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 8 is 16. So I'm going to carry that one over. 2 times 2 is 4, add 1 is 5. And then 2 times 1 is 2. So 2,564, yeah, that's what we got on Sunday. So that is true because there are double the amount of people on Sunday as there are on Saturday. Again, number 3 then asked for the least popular attraction of the weekend was Primrose Park. So to do this, you needed to be able to add up the totals of your of each one, so the Saturday and Sunday, and see if Primrose Park had the least. So Animal World Zoo had 3,846, Maltings Castle 3,865, Primrose Park 3,277, and Filmland Cinema 3,649. So it is in fact true. Well done, guys, if you got those. If you've just gone through your Do It or your Do It Extra challenge and you've got things wrong and you're not quite sure why, make sure that you just send me an email and we can go through it together. Okay then, so you'll secure it. Rosie says we asked 54 people altogether. Can you spot Rosie's mistake? How many people were asked altogether? So she said there was 54 people and we needed to work out what she'd done wrong. So vanilla was 15, chocolate was 19, strawberry was 10, and mint was 12. Okay. So if we just add those together, we've got 5 add 9 is 14, add 2 is 16. And then 1 add 1 add 1 is 4, add 1 is 5. So the answer is 56. Okay, so she hasn't added them up correctly. She's missed 2 off because the actual answer was 56. Okay, so today our learning objective is to explore line graphs. So we're going to have a look at line graphs for the first time. Okay guys, so I've got a checklist here for things that need to be included on a line graph. Use the checklist to see what this line graph is missing, okay? Pause me while you do that, then come back when you're ready. Okay, hopefully you've had a go at that. So if we have a look, we've got, is there a title? Well, looking here, traffic survey is the title. So yes, we've got a title. And axis labels, well, we haven't got that. So if we look here, looks to me as if these are times. So that should say time. And then I'm guessing these are the amount of cars seen. So amount of cars seen. And then finally the scales, it looks to me as if this is going up 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then 10. Okay. So that is your basic line graph. It needs a title, axis labels, and scales, exactly the same as the bar chart. Okay, so if we look now at this line graph, you can see it's got the dots here. I'll just highlight those, sorry, where the points are, and then the lines join it up. So I'm going to ask you a question now. Can you tell me how many cars were seen at 9 a.m.? Okay. Hopefully you all followed up and saw across it went to 10. Okay. So at what time were 2 cars seen? Okay. Hopefully you've all gone across and down and realised it's 11. Okay. So that is how we read a line graph. Okay guys, so we've just looked at a line graph and we're now going to look at how you plot one. So I'm going to do it and talk you through it. So we need to look first of all at what our axes are labelled as. So this side here is our temperatures in degrees, and at the bottom here that is the time in minutes. Okay, so if we look at our table, first of all at 2 minutes it's got that it's 40 degrees. So we follow the 2 up until it meets the 40. Now you can put a cross there or a dot there, it doesn't matter as long as you've plotted the point. And then if we go from 4 we go up to 70, and then 6 again, that's 70 as well. 8 is 90. Try and keep your crosses or dots small. I'm just being rubbish because it's hard on the laptop. And 10 there. Now you would then use a ruler. You always start from 0, but obviously I haven't got a ruler, so I'm just going to do my best. So it would look something like that. Okay then, so for your do it today, you need to use the line graph to answer the questions. So it's the height of the plane during a flight, and you've got the heights in 1,000 meters and the minutes in the flight. So the first question is, how long did the flight last for? The second one is, what is the highest height that the plane reached? And the third is, how long had the flight been going at 40,000 meters? Okay, so any problems, just email me, but have a go. And then if you whiz through that and you want a bit of an extra challenge, you've got the Do It Extra Challenge. Class 4 grew a plant. They measured the height of the plant every week for 6 weeks. The table shows the height of the plant each week. Create a line graph to represent this information. What scale would you use on the X and Y axis? So obviously use the one I've just done. That might help you with how you would draw it. Have a go at that. Any problems, email me. And finally, you'll secure it. So Milo says the water increases as the year goes on. And Luke says the most water was recorded in April. Explain who is correct, okay? Any problems, email me, guys, and we'll go through the answers tomorrow. Bye!
Morning everyone, welcome to your writing lesson for today. We're going to kick off with our warm-up activity. Remembering this week we're focused on it's or its. We're into this habit now. We know that it's with an apostrophe is it is, and it's without an apostrophe means something belongs to it. For example, the crab hid in its shell. The shell belongs to the crab. Or it's time to go home. It is time to go home, so we need an apostrophe. So we know what we're doing now, so copy these 2 sentences. The dragon sat on its gold and blew a ring of smoke. We need to return the alien, but its home is far away. Put the right it's in and then come back to me ready for the answers. Pause the video. Okay, let's have a look. Did you get these both right today? I managed to be a little bit sneaky with you because both of these are its possession. They're belonging to its. They do not need an apostrophe. The dragon sat on its gold. The gold belongs to the dragon, so there's no apostrophe. We need to return the alien, but its home is far away. The home belongs to the alien, so again, no apostrophe. More of these tomorrow as we move through the week to get really, really confident with them. So today, we're going to be writing a diary entry to show how the character feels. So this builds on our work that we were doing last week when we did our reports about going to visit the Wizarding World, and we had to write a review as to whether we liked the day out or we didn't. This links in from this, and we're going to be thinking about characters, and we're going to be writing a diary entry as if we're one of those characters in this clip. So having a little look here, have a little look at Neville, who's this character here.
He's obviously just got onto his broomstick for the first time. How do you think he might be feeling? Just have a pause, write down a few words to describe how this character's feeling. Okay, so how did you think he was feeling? Do you think he was feeling nervous? Did you think he was feeling excited? Did you think he was feeling worried? Did you think he was feeling frightened when he's up there on the broom? Okay, you might have used any number of these words. You might have used something else completely different of your own. Did you think he looked scared? We're going to use these words to help us with our writing today, but we're not going to tell our reader that they were nervous or that he was worried or that he was scared. We are going to describe that feeling for our character. So let's have a little look at a diary entry, okay? A little bit of an extract. It's not a diary entry, sorry, this is the bit from the text. And what I'd like you to do as we're going through is have a little think about how Harry Potter is feeling in this extract. How do we know? What have we spotted, okay? So at 3:30 that afternoon, Harry, Ron and the other Gryffindors hurried down the steps into the grounds for their first flying lesson. It was a clear, breezy day and the grass rippled under their feet as they marched down the sloping lawns towards a smooth lawn on the opposite side of the grounds to the Forbidden Forest, whose trees were swaying darkly in the distance. The Slytherins were already there, and so were 20 broomsticks lying in neat lines on the ground. Harry had heard Fred and George Weasley complain about the school brooms, saying that some of them started to vibrate if you flew too high, or always flew slightly to the left. Their teacher, Madam Hooch, arrived. She had short grey hair and yellow eyes like a hawk. "Well, what are you waiting for?" she barked. "Everyone stand by a broomstick. Come on, hurry up." Harry glanced down at his broom. It was old, and some of the twigs stuck out at odd angles. "Stick out your right hand over your broom," growled Madam Hooch at the front, "and say up." "Up," everyone shouted. Harry's broom jumped into his hand at once. It was one of the few that did. Hermione Granger's had simply rolled on the ground, and Neville's hadn't moved at all. Perhaps brooms, like horses, could tell when you were afraid, thought Harry. There was a quaver in Neville's voice that said only too clearly that he wanted to keep his feet on the ground. So, how do we think Harry's feeling about this from this part of the text, okay? So if we have a little think, how are we feeling when his broom jumped up into his hand? How do you think he was feeling when he had to shout up? How do you think he was feeling when he was thinking about what the Weasley twins had complained about the brooms doing? How do you think he was feeling when the trees were swaying darkly in the distance? Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind, because what we're going to do today is we're going to watch the same scene as we've just read about from the book in the movie. And what I want you to think about is how Harry's feeling when Madam Hooch arrives, when he calls his broom up, when Ron's broom hits him in the face, when he sits on his broom for the first time, when Neville flies away, and when Neville falls. These are the things that happen in the video clip, and I want you to think about what Harry's feeling, okay? So when you're watching the video clip, I would like you to write down some feeling words, just like we did at the start about Neville, for each of these different activities, because that's going to help you with writing your diary entry today. So let's have a look at the clip, and then we'll get on to our writing. Here we go.
Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, Madam Hooch.
Good afternoon, Amanda. Good afternoon. Welcome to your first flying lesson. Well, what are you waiting for? Everyone step up to the left side of their broomstick. Come on now, hurry up. Stick your right hand over the broom and say up.
Up.
Wow. With feeling.
Shut up, Harry.
Now, once you've got hold of your broom, I want you to mount it. And grip it tight. You don't want to be sliding off the end. When I blow my whistle, I want each of you to kick off from the ground hard. Keep your broom steady. Hover for a moment. Then lean forward slightly and touch back down. On my whistle, 3, 2... Mr. Longbottom, Mr. Long! Mr. Long! Watch out! Come back down this instant! Mr. Long! Everyone out of the way!
Okay, so we're going to use that clip that we've just watched to help us to write our diary entry today. Okay, so our diary entry is going to include all of the different things that happened in the video clip. So when Madam Hooch arrived at the lesson, when they calls up with his broom and his broom arrives in his hand, when Ron's broom hits him in the face, when he sits on his broom for the first time, when Neville flies away, and when Neville falls, and we're going to write it from Harry's perspective. So you're going to pretend to be Harry Potter today. These are the things that we need to be able to include within our sentences. So we're going to write in the first person because we're going to pretend that we are Harry. I did this, we went out there. We're going to use conjunctions to help us order the events. First, next, last, then. You're going to use those emotion words to tell the reader how you're feeling. I was feeling worried, I was feeling excited, I was feeling nervous. If you're really up for a challenge today, you could not use the emotion words and you could describe how you're feeling. So maybe your palms were sweaty or you were breathing really hard. Yeah, and that would tell me how you're feeling rather than using the words. And then as we've been working on all week, I want you to use those conjunctions to extend your sentences. Here are some emotions, some feeling words to help you. These are in your work pack as well. And you're going to use all of this to help you with your writing. And what I'd like you to do is write your diary entry. Have a read through it and make sure that it makes sense. Make sure it's exciting and it engages your reader. Make sure it's entertaining and you write about the funny bits as well as the scary bits. And then, if you would like to, you can share your writing with us by emailing Miss Foster or Miss Cunnington. But now you need to pause the video, write your diary entry, and then come back to me, and we will go over our connected curriculum for today. So pause the video now. Okay, fantastic. I hope you've written a really fantastic diary entry and you liked feeling like Harry Potter for the day on his first flying lesson. Remember that you can send those in to us. You can snap us a photo if you wrote it by hand, or you can email it in if you wrote it on the computer. It's year3@redbrookhayes.staffs.sch.uk for Miss Cunnington and year4@redbrookhayes.staffs.sch.uk for Miss Foster. Now, onto our connected curriculum for today. You'll remember that we've started a new project this week. We're still on our World of Wonders topic, but we're looking at art and sculpture this week. There's an essential activity for everybody to complete within the work pack with lots of links to galleries and videos and even a quiz to test your knowledge about different types of sculpture. And then you've got some sculpting projects to do for challenge 1, challenge 2 and challenge 3 with tinfoil, with natural materials or with cardboard or clay. And then for challenge 4, if you'd rather not do the arty challenges, you can research one of the famous sculptures that are one of the wonders of the world and tell us about it. You could even make your own replica of the sculpture using paper mache or Lego or recycling, if that's something that tickles your fancy as well. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll be back with more learning adventures tomorrow. Have a great day, guys. Bye.